Okay, boys and girls, let's start this form out with an example. Notice that in the example, I'm going to be reading very closely. I advise that you do that for each of the problems that you'll solve on your own. In every sample of carbon dioxide, there is 32 grams of oxygen present for every 12 grams of carbon. So the ratio of oxygen to carbon is 32 to 12. And we need to answer the question, what percent of carbon dioxide is oxygen? Well, so if every sample of carbon dioxide contains two parts, one part being oxygen and the other part being carbon, if we add those two parts together, then we're considering the whole of 44 grams, right? So that's, if I'm looking at 44 grams of carbon dioxide, 32 is going to be oxygen, 12 is going to be carbon. I know that. So I've got my whole because I got to find my percent of the whole that is oxygen. My whole is going to be placed at the bottom as the denominator, and 32 is the value that it makes up part of the whole. That's the oxygen. And so to find the percent, I'm going to have to convert this fraction to a decimal first. A lot of students do this. They use their browser to just take 32 divided by 44. And you can see the answer shows up pretty quickly right there. It's 0.72727272. If you don't want to believe your browser and you want to type it into a calculator, go for it. Definitely go for it. Let's just take this moment to acknowledge that there's a repetant here, right? 72 keeps repeating. So if I drew a bar over this, other mathematicians would say, oh, 72 keeps repeating. Great. Now I have to convert this number to a percent. And to do that, I'm going to think about how many parts are per 100, right? So there's the tenths, hundredths place. And so there's really 72 parts per 100. And then there is still that repeating value here like that. So really it's 72.72% repeating. However, I have no idea how to write that repetant, and you don't need to learn how either. You could simply round it. So if I were to round this to the nearest whole percent, I'd be looking at the whole number 2 and thinking about the number to its right, how 7 is greater than 5, and so my answer is going to be 73%. That's the rounded to the nearest whole percent. Again, so to find my answer, I had to find the total. I had to put that total in terms of parts, in terms of oxygen parts. Then I converted it to a decimal, and then I converted that decimal to a percent. Okay, lots going on here. You've learned all of this, and if you need any help, of course, talk to your teacher.